Beverly, what do you think?
Yeah, so I looked a little bit at aquifers in Geauga County, and some of them are very shallow, 25 feet, and some of them are much deeper, but not anywhere near that, 100 feet. It's kind of deep around here. It really is. They're very shallow. And some of them are even in the very permeable glacial valley formations that you have, so when you drill down and it's filled with cobbles, that's very easy for stuff to flow through. And I guess I would recommend that the zoning committee and everybody look at, there's some nice maps that have been done where they've looked at the vulnerability of the different aquifers in Geauga County to contamination. And those maps are available below the DNR, and I would take them into consideration to the extent that you can. In siting wells that goes forward to avoid the more vulnerable ones and that kind of thing. So yes, I think there are areas of Geauga County that would be vulnerable to surface spills or leakage through the upper part. And I do want to address your point about there was a recent study that came out finding salts of the same composition of the Marcellus shale seeping into the ground, or I don't remember exactly where they were, but in the bottoms of valleys in Pennsylvania. Okay, so what this was an indication is that there are pathways through which fluids that are in the Marcellus shale in Pennsylvania ultimately make it to the surface. If you asked a geologist about this any time when people were not talking about oil and gas, they would have said, sure, of course that happens. Because that's what you're taught when you take a basic hydrogeology class. Fluids are driven by pressures. They travel from where the pressure is high to where the pressure is low. They can't go always down, 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 because eventually the pressure gets higher down there, so they go down for a while, then they turn laterally, then they eventually may move even up a little bit and come to the surface. Okay, that's sort of the standard picture that we have if you drew the fluid flow on the surface. It takes millions of years. Okay, so those are fluids most likely. They don't have the time scale of those. And there are ways that you can get at that, maybe. You can get at time scales of stuff coming from the surface and going down. It's hard to get time scales of stuff moving laterally. But it's unlikely that those traveled over any kind of short time scale. So my expectation is that those are pathways, but they're pathways that have taken a very, very long time for those salts to travel. So it remains that there's no evidence that these salt waters, okay, that are full of all sorts of nasty things, are migrating up from fractures being created or by any other pathways on any kind of a rapid timescale.